Last week was also FIL Paris. The pictures looked incredible. I don't think I quite fully understood that it was a boat on the Seine. That was the network base. So I was not there, but for those of you who were, I would love to hear highlights, recaps, greatest hits from the event. So I'm going to kick it off with Hida because I know he was there. I know he presented. Hida, how was your FIL Paris experience?
It was the first time I was near home, so I went with the car. It was way better than something like Hong Kong. But the people were nice, the weather was fine, the food was nice. The venues, you had two of them. One with was also shared with the ETH venue, but the one on the boat was amazing. Um, Met a few people. The important discussions we had was with Juan and Molly and the Cell team. Um, and the presentation I was giving was about renewability and survivability of SPs during this market turndown. It was more for streaming because almost everybody was on the other venue at the time. So, but it was fun.
So, what could you share about your meeting with the Crypto Econ Labs? Because I'm sure, and I'll progress to Juan and Molly. Again, I know these are long conversations, but what were some of your takeaways from that conversation with CEL to start?
Yeah, well, I was meeting with Vic, and they actually had, they were. I left Wednesday morning, and they stayed there until Saturday. They had a whole week of internal discussions with the Crypto Econ Lab. We were primarily discussing the two biggest problems for Falcon right now. One, that's the economic downturn for storage providers. The fact that almost none of us are still operating in the green. And this second problem, one other huge problem is data cap and growth. So I did some proposals together with a lot of community members about a month ago about, hey guys, there is an issue. We are losing 1% of our revenue every week. The price is still low. It's only going to get quicker and worse. And to my suggestion, there was something broken with the minting model, namely the fact that pledge is locked to QAP and block reward is locked to raw byte power. I thought those four there was a mistake making, but the Crypto Econ Labs explained to me that's not the case, and they showed the evidence and the maths, and I agree with their statements. But they also said there is still an issue, and the issue is not the minting model. The issue is QAP growth. They made a really big announcement last year in December about what's going to happen when we hit baseline and how our miners are going to survive. And the biggest unknown for them was that the amount of QAP onboarding just exploded. And well, it's keeping it quite a static line for the last 6 months. And I've been having this discussion with Juan and Molly as well, and with Deep and the whole Falcon Plus team. And the main takeaway is now that we are moving into the quality phase, there's still like 60 to 70% of what's being onboarded daily is questionable, meaning it's not 100% abusive and bad, but we don't know what it is. It's not from respectable clients. It's not a data set that we are familiar with from CERN or from NIH or anything else. Just we don't really know, and we don't have grip on QAP growth. And that causes a lot of the problems that I saw as a flaw in the minting model. But if we can reduce the onboarding rate by removing a lot of those questionable onboarding, then we could actually solve a lot of problems that the SPs right now face. And that was the main discussion of the whole week. I had the same discussion with Juan, the same discussion with Molly, with a few investors there, with large miners, so on and so forth.
So is it safe to say that you changed your perspective slightly around this topic, or at least you had some information gaps filled in?
Well, if you are looking from a problems point of view, I still believe that some things about the minting model are not great and should be changed. But if you look from a solutions perspective, we want to solve some things, and there's multiple paths to make this happen. And if I stand by my own path and I want this, but it's not going to be implemented ever, there's no way on getting to the results I want to see. So if both high up in PL and members of the community and crypto econ labs who really know the tokenomics a million times better than I do, if they all say like, hey, we understand your issue, it is an issue, but reducing fraud is an easier and simpler path to the same results as changing the whole tokenomics, I have no other option than to agree with them. So yeah, I didn't fully change my mind. There's still an issue. That was my main problem. But the solution is not changing the model, but attacking abuse.
Well, if there's one thing this community knows, is that no one's been attacking abuse harder than Mr. Hedda Hoagland since the beginning of the year. Questions for Hedda? And then I'll move on to other reactions from FIL Paris. But now that we have him on the spot.
So do you think the rewards can stay on the level which are today, or generally we should still count that they are going down and nobody knows how much?
Yeah, that's a good question. There is that was one of the things we talked about with Cell. The reduction in rewards now is only quickened by the fact that the pledge is not dropping. And the pledge is not dropping due to the QAP growth. So if you can remove or reduce the QAP growth that's so aggressively and unknown at the moment to a healthy
direction will be opposite.
Sorry?
Then direction will be opposite compared to today.
Well, if you reduce the QAP growth, two things happen. First of all, your pledge will be cheaper. Like the day after, it will now the pledge is slowly dropping, but it will be dropping a lot more. That's one thing. And the second thing is the growth of the network will be less, so your rewards decline will be also much less. So yeah, it's an immediate effect, and it won't take 6 months or 12 months for the community to align, to implement, to change, to talk about with expert. We can do this tomorrow. But the thing I'm asking to each and everyone in this call, me, Wijnand, and my other colleagues here, and the Falcon Plus team are doing their utmost to try and to expose with factual evidence to abusers what's going wrong. And we're trying to align the community onto removing them, and things are going pretty well. But we are still the only SP in the world who are active on attacking and stopping abusive entities. There is no one voicing their opinions or their facts or their evidence on any LDN ever, or on the open issues on GitHub. It's a lonely fight. We need more people doing the right thing.
Okay, understand.
All right. Anyone else who attended FIL Paris on the call today that would like to chime in with their takeaways?